Coming up next on ECN, a regularly scheduled meeting of the Edinburg City Council. On the council, Mayor Ramiro Garza Jr., Councilmember Daniel Dan Diaz, Councilmember Jason De Leon, Councilmember Johnny Garcia, and Mayor Pro Tem David White. Sitting in as advisors, City Manager Myra L. Ayala and City Attorney Omar Ochoa. And now live from Edinburg City Hall, the Edinburg City Council.
I am going to call this meeting to order. It is May 16th, 2023, and this meeting is the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 3 board meeting at this time, and I do see all members of the board present here, so we do have quorum. Certification of public notice.
Yes, sir. Mayor, the meeting was posted in accordance to Texas Open Meetings Act on May 12, 2023 at 3:40 p.m., sir.
Very well, and we have item 3, disclosure of conflict of interest.
Yes, Mayor. Under state law, a conflict of interest exists if a member or certain members of that person's family has a qualifying financial interest in an agenda item. If there is a conflict of interest, the member can't participate or vote on the item. Are there any conflicts to disclose?
No, sir. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item 4, regular agenda items. Consider approval of TERS number 3 board minutes for a meeting held on July 19, 2022.
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I could, generally, there's a public comment section that allows for public comments on any agenda items. Since there isn't one, I would recommend that you allow for public comment before action is taken on any item. Okay,
can we make sure we add it to the agenda? Because I don't see it on here. So we need to add it for future. I know we have it in our city meetings, and I know this is a special board meeting, but if we could add them, that'd be great. Yes. At this time, before we start the regular agenda items, we're going to allow for public comment. We're meeting today at this time for this particular meeting on our tax increment reinvestment zone. It's an area of the city that is designated for redevelopment. In this particular case, TERS number 3, which is the area otherwise known as La Siena out in Montecristo and 281. So at this time, I will open it up for public comments. If there's any of you here for the regular city meeting, it's going to happen after this particular meeting. But right now, we're going over the tax increment reinvestment zone board meeting. So I will open it up. You're welcome to address us at this time for any public comments that anybody may have.
Can you tell us the benefits for the city of Edinburg for this one? Because I know each one, and explain what they do.
Sure.
Thank you.
I can't do it under public comment, Ms. Friend, but I will do it on as the item comes up. Yes, thank you. Anybody else? Any other public comments?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Taylor Kramer. I'm speaking for Cassie, or Citizens Against Sexualization of Children.
Can you repeat your name? I'm sorry, for the record.
My name is Taylor Kramer, and I'm the director of Cassie, Citizens Against Sexualization of Children.
Okay.
And, oh, shoot.
You want to say it for the council?
All right, guys, so let me tell you a little bit about Cassie here. CASC, or Cassie, is not anti-LGBTQ. There's no money collected and no politics discussed. Cassie assembles at municipal, county, and ISD meetings for public comment. Cassie will address sexually inappropriate content, situations children are being exposed to, and advocate for common sense, zero tolerance of overtly sexual content for children. Cassie is all about action. All you need to do is show up, attend meetings, and sign up for public comment to tell your local community we are paying attention and will not tolerate any overtly sexual content aimed towards children. Everyone who is against the sexualization of children is welcome to join Cassie. Now, I'm here to talk to you tonight. I had a little picture passed around there. On 2/19/23 at the Landmark on Tower, which is a restaurant in Alamo, they hosted a LGBTQ plus youth fundraiser. This was presented by STEP, or South Texas Equality Project. This was a drag show for kids. If you go to the CASC Facebook page, you can see the video there. This event was called Amor is Amor, Love is Love. The flyer for the event had a drag queen in lingerie licking his leather glove right next to the words Kids Games. At this event, they had toddlers tipping drag queens. This was a strip tease with toddlers participating like they were at a strip club. This is not appropriate for children. This is an adult act. Why are young impressionable children being shown this as LGBTQ plus culture? Where are the LGBTQ plus doctors, lawyers, and scientists? This isn't about education or culture. This is sexual content aimed at children. This is what they're showing kids? This is the example of LGBTQ plus role model step shows children, drag queens dancing for strangers that throw dollar bills at them? Again, this is sexual content aimed at children. They had kids' games right next to the drag queen stage. Now that everybody is aware of South Texas Equality Project, what they do and what they think is appropriate for kids, ask yourselves as leaders of city government, does STEP reflect and represent the values of Edinburgh? This is not how we treat our kids here in the Valley. Now you know, and Cassie will be watching, and Cassie will be watching. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Got any extras?
All right, is there anybody else that wishes to make public comments at this time under this tax increment reinvestment zone board meeting? If not, we will move on. We do have, for those of you here for the regular city meeting, another opportunity for public comments as our city meeting starts after this. All right, council, we're going to move on to we have 3 items under the regular agenda items. First is the item A, to approve, consider approving TERS board minutes for a meeting held on July 19, 2022.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B is to discuss and consider accepting the independent accountant's report on applying agreed-upon procedures to costs reimbursable to Burns Brothers, LTD Limited, dated March 31st, 2023, prepared by McCall, Gibson, Swedland, Barfoot, PLLC, Certified Public Accountants.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. I think there had been a question about what are the benefits, but at this time, can somebody speak to this audit report? Who could speak to? I'm sorry, Nilda.
Yes, sir,
Just
Mayor.
for information purposes, Ms. Nilda, because I asked the city manager, I know this wasn't posted on our, or was, right, on our city website, or
Yes.
just not in our city meeting, so if you could just share some background on this, yeah.
So the tax increment reinvestment zone that was created back in 2008 for La Sienna Development, Burns Brothers Development, was created for a distressed area to spur development north of Edinburgh off of Monte Cristo between Davis and Monte Cristo along frontage 281. This was an undeveloped piece of property, and this TERS was created to spur the development that is now a big residential area with commercial lots fronting the frontage road and Monte Cristo. And so now we have these tax payments that are before you today to be approved that are reimbursed back to the developer who put in all of the infrastructure cost to develop that whole area.
And this audit is required before we even consider anything. Is it an independent audit that is
Yes, sir.
done?
It's an independent audit that's required under the agreement that was created for the TERS, the Burns Brother contract, an independent auditor to audit all of the improvements that were made out there, all of the costs that they put in, and they submit that to us. We submit the same to the county for their tax payment and for reimbursement back to the developer.
So these are improvements that have already been made that we're reimbursing based on the new value in that area.
Yes, sir. There was a baseline, property value baseline established back in 2008, and so anything above that is what is considered based on the infrastructure costs that they put in that's reimbursed back to
And
them.
maybe just for information purposes, Ms. Nelda, do we have what the value was when the TERS was created of
I believe
the
it's
property? Because I know it was undeveloped, but for information purposes, I know Ms. Fern asked what the benefit was. Of course, there was a certain value at the time, and now there's obviously an incremental value, right? So I guess that would constitute the benefit, but only a percentage is provided back. But do we happen to have what that base value is?
Let me see. I don't have it quite with me. I can provide it to her as information.
Okay. And what is the
Have it in
current
my
value
house.
right now of that area of that TERS?
Captured value is 73 million.
That's the total assessed value based on
Total
all the
assessed value.
improvements.
I'm sorry, the base value, I do have it, is 2.4 million when it was established in 2008, and it's grown to over 73 million. in property value.
Right, and Ms. Nelda, just for the record and for those that don't understand what a TERS zone is, could you just briefly explain, and also explain that this is no tax increase, this is monies that derive from the project, just
Right, and so when
quick
the
synopsis.
zone is created as a tax increment reinvestment zone, the developer will approach the city based on what they would plan to put in to what is known as distressed area, which is an undeveloped piece of property. This piece of property was quite large. It didn't have any drainage. It didn't have any infrastructure, roads, and that sort. And so the developer was willing to commit a large amount of money to develop that property to attract development in north of Edinburgh. The zone is created by assessing the properties that will be included in the zone. And so it's a piece of real estate all along between Davis Road and Monte Cristo along frontage. And all of that property, back in 2008, it had a tax base value. And so that base value is what they call, they freeze that value. And so anything above that value, that 2.4 million, are incremental values that are considered when that the development goes in there, the property values increase. And so based on the development that they put in there, all the infrastructure costs that they put in there, those values go up. And so that is what, in the agreement, there is a not to exceed, I don't have the amount with me, but not to exceed amount. And so over a 30-year period, the city will reimburse whatever those values are based on what those taxes, property taxes, are collected within that area because of the development that they put in there.
correct? So instead of the taxes going to the city, it goes to them to repay back the infrastructure and the economic growth that they spurred in that area.
Right, and it's over a 30-year period, so it's not all at once, it's over.
And the audit is just to verify and to see what they spent on the infrastructure so they can be reimbursed?
Yes, sir, yeah,
Yeah, and I think the county's a part of it as well, so it's both the city, I believe, and the county.
County, right.
So has the county already considered
yes,
the
they
audit?
approved it actually this morning.
Okay, that's also my
Commissioner's Court.
question, so the county's approved it,
Yes.
okay. All right, all those in favor of accepting the audit, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have another item having to do with, now that the audit, I guess, has been accepted, is to consider council approving the Hidalgo County tax increment payment of $352,506.19 and the City of Edinburgh tax increment payment of $374,632.22. Burn Brothers Limited in connection with reinvestment zone number 3.
Motion to approve with discussion.
Second.
We have motion to second. Yes, sir.
What, do we have a total number of the investment?
Of their investment?
Yes.
Yes, we do. I don't have the exact figure, but it's up, they are going to be reimbursed up to, I believe, 12 million. At this point, I think that they have 10.4, a little over 10 point, it's above 10.5 million,
Their total investment?
their total investment.
And what does this constitute of the reimbursement, this payment here?
We're in year 15 out of 30.
And so that, the max of that is what they put in? It doesn't go above their investment?
Right, that's correct.
That's all I had.
Yeah, but this amount, I think, is reflective on the values that are there. So it's just based
Correct.
on what the audit, is that correct? Or just to
Well,
be
the
clear?
infrastructure amounts that they put in
Okay.
is that amount.
But we can only reimburse on values that are there. That's my point.
Or,
Yeah,
yes, that's
so-
correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions by anybody on council? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, just last items to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
A motion, a second adjourn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. We're now adjourned of the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Board Meeting number 3. We'll start the council meeting shortly. Okay. Ready? All right. I'm going to start the regular city council meeting now at this time. For this evening, it is 6:15 PM on my watch. And I'm going to call this meeting to order, and I do see visibly that we have a quorum with all members of council being present. We're going to start this evening's council meeting with a prayer. And tonight, we have a prayer that is going to be conducted by Pastor Javier Garcia from Harvest International Church. If everybody could please rise for our prayer.
God, thank you for tonight. Thank you for the acknowledgement of God in this building. I thank you for these men and women that stand before me, Lord, the leaders that you have placed for this city, for the guidance of the people and the families, the children, the young people of this city. So I pray that you would give them wisdom and understanding, God, that the decisions that they make is for the betterment of the people and the families of this great city. God, guide them and protect them and their families. And I speak the name of Jesus over their homes, their marriages, their children, oh God, as they are busy in their jobs and their work, God, that you would bless, Lord, every part of their families. Thank you for tonight, God. We always ask for your wisdom, and we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Garcia. Appreciate it. All right, item 2 is certification of public notice.
Yes, sir, Mayor, the meeting was posted in accordance to the Texas Open Meetings Act on May 12, 2023 at 10:20 PM, sir.
Great, thank you. Item 3 is disclosure of conflict of interest.
Yes, Mayor, under state law, a conflict of interest exists if a member or certain members of that person's family has a qualifying financial interest in an agenda item. If there is a conflict of interest, the member can't participate or vote on the item. Are there any conflicts to disclose?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to proclamations. We have 2 this evening. The first one is the reason why we have all those nice trucks out there in the parking lot that y'all saw. They were there for a reason. We're proclaiming May 21st through 27th, National Public Works Week, and we have our public works employees, in some cases, are unsung heroes because when we get these storms and we are looking for help out there, these are the gentlemen that are out there and helping our community. So we're going to recognize them for National Public Works Week, whereas the American Public Works Association has celebrated National Public Works Week since 1960, and whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of Edinburgh to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in the respective communities. And whereas public works professionals focus on services, facilities, infrastructure that are vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Texas. And whereas these services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of all public works professionals, these engineers, managers, and employees from state, local governments, and the private sector are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structure and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas the City of Edinburgh recognizes the contributions public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Now therefore, I, Ramiro Garza Jr., Mayor of the City of Edinburgh, Texas, by the power vested in me by law, hereby proclaim the week of May 21st to 27th, 2023 as National Public Works Week, and urge everyone to join representative of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees to recognize for all that they do, all their contributions in protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. For the record, my name is Vincent Romero. I'm the Public Works Director. This year's theme for Public Works Week is actually called Connecting the World Through Public Works. National Public Works Week is observed every year on the third week of May. It's a week set aside to recognize public works employees and to bring public awareness to the functions and importance of public works. The public works team that connects Edinburgh is made from a wide range of skill sets: journeyman electricians, traffic technicians, heavy equipment operators, mechanics, maintenance workers, and administrative staff, just to name a few. Public Works is comprised of hardworking people that work every day and after hours to ensure the safe operation of your street, traffic, and drainage infrastructure. We work with other departments to ensure the continuity of services that sustain the safety and well-being of its citizens in a safe, efficient, and reliable manner. Connecting the world through public works. I'd like to think that this also means the world connecting through public works. So I challenge the public. Next time you see the crews working to connect your world, connect with their world. Say hi and ask them what they're doing. I can tell you they're a bunch of nice guys and would love to explain to you what they do for you. This year, May 21st through May 27th, is a chance to showcase the City of Edinburgh Public Works Department. We'll have cake in the hallway and be showcasing equipment on the east side of the City Hall parking lot. It's a great photo op and chance to meet our staff. Come on out. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say, round of applause for these men and women. When we're at home bearing the rains and the winds and the flooding, these are the gentlemen that are in the streets of Edinburgh making sure things are going right. They're, like somebody said, they're the unsung heroes. It's easy to recognize fire, EMS, and PD. These are the men and women that don't get recognized as much. So thank you for what you do. And like the director said, if you see them, talk to them, thank them, and shake their hand. Thank you for everything and all your sacrifices you do for the city.
Vince, I just want to say personally, you know, a lot of people don't understand truly what Public Works does. And I can attest, you know, how diligent y'all work very hard, you know, day in and day out. You know, many times at night, 2, 3 in the morning, I see your guys out there working. And I just want to give, for example, this weekend we had this major rain, you know, with Thompson Street, Santa Maria Street. And I know for a fact, because I talked to you several times, you went out there, we went out there 2 or 3 times trying to clean up that water, trying to help this community. You know, and it's like I tell people, there is frustration, and sometimes they get upset because of the improvements that are being done, but it's a temporary frustration for the benefit that they're going to reap after all this is done. But I want to thank you, you and your gentlemen, for everything that you do. We see the heavy machinery out there, and sometimes it's a headache for the residents, but they don't realize the importance of what you all are doing, trying to connect them, like you said, connect them to the rest of the city services. Again, thank you and your staff for what you do.
Thank you. Okay, so, where do you want to send? I think we're gonna take a picture, so we need to turn around. How do you want us? All right. Thank you guys for all you do. All right, we're gonna move on to item B, presentation proclamation recognizing May 2023 as Motorcycle Awareness Month. Do we have someone here accepting this award, the proclamation? If you can step up to the podium, please. So this Motorcycle Awareness Month, we're going to read the proclamation for the record. Whereas motorcycle riding is becoming a popular form of efficient transportation and recreation in Texas, and whereas motorcycles are a common and economical means of transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear and contributes in a significant way to the relief of traffic and parking congestion. And whereas a prime concern of motorcyclists are the safety hazards created by motorists who fail to watch for motorcyclists on the streets and highways throughout Texas. And whereas TxDOT's statewide Share the Road, Look Twice for Motorcycles, Motorcycle Safety and Public Awareness campaign urges motorists to look twice for motorcycles, especially at intersections where motorcycle collisions most commonly occur. And whereas it is important to recognize the need for awareness on the part of all drivers, especially with regard to sharing the road with motorcycles, and to honor the many contributions motorcyclists make to the communities in which they live and ride. And whereas it is especially important that the citizens of Edinburg recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. And whereas the City of Edinburg urges all citizens of our community to become aware of the inherent danger involved in operating a motorcycle, and for riders and motorists alike to give each other the mutual respect they deserve. Now therefore I, Ramiro Garza Jr., Mayor of the City of Edinburg, Texas, by the power vested in me by law, do hereby proclaim the week of May 2023 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in the City of Edinburg and ask all drivers to look twice for motorcycles on our city streets. Congratulations. We're happy to hear from you, sir, at this time. And
First of all, my name is Les Cantu, and we'd like to thank the City of Edinburg for joining the state to making this an awareness for us all riders out in the state. The state of Texas has many great roads, as you all can see up in the hill country, and we take advantage of them more and more. As bikes are becoming more popular, we're having more accidents, and we like to, like you said it twice, look twice, save a life. Excuse me, at the end of the day, we're somebody's cousin, we're somebody's parents, we're somebody's children, just like you guys, and we all want to go home. So once again, thank you guys for acknowledging that to your city.
Absolutely. We have two riders in our council.
Yeah, we have two riders right here.
Three or two? We have Councilman Dan Diaz and
Sturgis,
Councilman Johnny
2016 from Edinburg, Texas.
Yeah. So we're going to go down and take a picture. All right. Before I move on to public comments, I just want to remind everybody that Public Works, they just cut the cake. So if anybody wants to go out there and get a little bit of cake, or, you're welcome to go out there. I don't want to go through a meeting and say, well, the mayor never allowed us to go get cake or anything. So anyway, all right, we're going to move on to public comments. Do we have any public comments this evening?
Yes, sir, Mayor. The Edinburg City Council allows for a specific portion of the city council meeting to be dedicated to public comments. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. I will be taking time. Please note, the public comment period is not interactive. The city council may not respond to public comments. At this time, Mayor and Council, there are 3 public comments. The first public comment is Vern McClarity, taxpayers' money.
I like it how you tell people to go eat when I'm fixing to come talk. So the first part I want to say, I went again to the city of FAR, and I want to thank you. I am glad to be home. That is the most miserable city I have ever attended. So I do thank each and every one of you. If I seem a little angry, than usual, it is because we attended the County Commissioners Court meeting this morning, and we discovered that we are spending an additional $315,900 for the new courthouse, which leaks like a sieve. Also, as we were leaving the meeting, we met Mr. Noe Hinojosa with the investment banker, who happens to be entering the building to meet with the county commissioners. My thought, oh dear God, more bonds and higher taxes are in our future. Before I go too far, is there anyone on this council that does not understand that there is a direct relationship between your spending and our property values? Because if there is, I have to start as much as possible as a basic level. The process is as simple as this. The more you spend, the higher our property values go. Also, if the city spends money, repayment is spread to over 100,000 people. But if the county spends, more repayment is spent over 1.2 million people. So if you're going to spend money, it is better for the people if the county spends the money. And as an emphasis of the impact your spending has on the people, we have performed the same review for your property that we perform for people that help prepare their protest. The information is from the Hidalgo County Appraisal District. A brief search for the average home property value in Texas has been identified as 8.5%. The same average on the national basis was identified as 4.5. In reference to your property values, they are from the Appraisal District webpage. We simply identified the dollar and percent increase. We are identifying the 5-year total because the district does not review all properties at once or every year, except for mine. Also included in your information is a tax rate for 10 counties that are significantly lower than Hidalgo County. And we know that the effective tax rate, if you go to the tax website on the county, Truth in Taxation Summary, you will see that the city of Edinburg, each year, because the values are so much more than the year before, each year the tax rate can actually go down. In 2022, you could have lowered our tax rate to 0.6256 and still brought in exactly the same amount of money as you did last year because of the values. So we're asking that y'all be looking at it this year before September. And so that was for 22, so I know it could even be lower than that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Again, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
The next public comment is Taylor Kramer regarding civic education. I think he already did the public comment. The next public comment is David Chavana regarding item number 3.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, David. How are you, sir?
Retired and eating whenever I want to. What else can I say about the Edinburg 10K? How many of you participated in the 10K, the 2-miler, the Miracle Mile that we had the night before? Can I have your hands? Participated. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just here to say, don't forget about us. I know people say, who's that guy running down the road with no shirt on? Well, it's right here, I love the city. I know some of you, and you go different ways on directions, but this is Edinburg. We bleed Edinburg, and 4 high schools. And on the 4 high schools, I ain't gonna get the name calling because they're kids. But I worked with you guys last year, last 2 years, during the, of course, all the commotion and everything out. But we came back out of it stronger. That's going to be our motto this year. We're getting stronger, and we want to get this finished, and I think we can. Sorry about that, but quick read. On February the 3rd, 2024, will be our 42nd year of being around in the Edinburg 10K and the 10K. We started off with 252 finishers to, I think, 1,500 or something like that last year. So we're real proud of that. We're real proud of that. And like I said, you guys have experienced this event. It's tremendous. You know, just the kids race alone is 5,000 students. So we're real proud of that. And I just wanted to say some numbers. McAllen had a 10K last year, their best 10K, and it drew 231 runners and finishers. The Causeway Run just had a 10K last Saturday, and they finished at 999. The Edinburgh 10K in 2023 came in with 1,200. So it's just the race directors and stuff like that. You like to give a little competition, best, so with each other, best, so you know, so you want to keep the records and stuff like that. And also we had a, let me see, you know, please. No, she should do it pretty good. I think my wife wrote this, so I couldn't be reading all the time. So, again, for your support, always your support. You know, here in Edinburgh, you know, it's done to the point where the controlling of animals, you know, is pretty strong in the city. You know, I'll run by one day by there, and some dogs chase me. You know, 5 years later, I'm going down the same lane, and nobody comes out because the grandparents don't want to come out. You know, so this is an event very close to my heart. You know, and it means a lot. And we got some tremendous members. Is that the thing to stop? Okay. And no, we got some tremendous members, and I know they're going to be mad at me for not saying their names, but anyway, it's all about them, the kids, and us putting them in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you for all you do, David, for the race and for our city.
The bill will be in the mail. No.
Thank you, David. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to, I'm sorry, is there any other public comments? Okay. All right, we're going to move on to presentations and reports. We have a presentation on and updates on the Unified Development Code.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jaime Acevedo, Planning and Zoning Director, for the record.
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
So back on August 9th of 2022, we adopted some new updates to the zoning, to the Unified Development Code. The Unified Development Code had not been adopted since, or updated since 2007. But in doing so, one of the things that we did was we consolidated some of the zoning districts. Well, we might have consolidated a little bit too much, because one of the things that we did during the consolidation process was that we lumped townhomes and urban residential into multifamily. So one of the trends that we're seeing is that more and more developers want to do townhomes in the city of Edinburgh. So to do this, we decided to make some changes to the Unified Development Code. And in essence, what we're doing is we're taking townhomes and urban residential away from the current zoning, because currently, if you want to do townhomes, you got to go for a rezoning in multifamily. And it kind of scares people away, because ultimately, once they get the proper zoning for townhomes the way it is today, they could theoretically turn around and do apartments. And some people don't want apartments as their neighbors. So this first exhibit displays the change that we're doing. We're going from residential, multifamily, urban, and dividing it into two districts. The first district would be the residential, urban, and townhome district. This is the new district that we're proposing. And then we're leaving residential multifamily alone, just for multifamily uses. This next exhibit shows you what the new district will allow for. The residential, urban, and townhome district allows for two types of single-family homes. It allows for residential urban lots, which are 4,000 square feet, with the lot width minimum of 40 feet, the front setback of 10 feet, with the garage setback of 18 feet, the side setbacks of 6 feet, and 10 feet in the back. If it's a corner lot, they still need to meet a 10-foot side setback, 18 if it's going to have a garage. For townhomes, the setbacks that we established are as follows. The lot area is 2,500 square feet minimum, with a minimum lot width of 25 feet. The setbacks are typical for townhomes, 10-foot front and 18 feet if they're going to have a garage in the front. As far as side setbacks, we are proposing 6-foot side or 0 if they're going to be fire rated. The corner side would still be at 10 feet and 18 if they're going to have a garage, and the rear setback is 10. So these are the proposed changes for the new district, but we're also bringing in a couple of new changes for residential multifamily. One of the things that happened when the Unified Development Code was last changed in August of last year was that the lot sizes became a little bit smaller in certain districts. So it became harder for developers to meet setbacks, and we saw an increase in variances, especially for the rear setback. So what we're proposing to do is to change the rear setback from 15 feet for duplex and fourplexes down to 10 feet. This would eliminate some of the variances that we're seeing from some of the developers.
So is that on the fourplex, the 10 feet from to the alleyway? Because some of them have an alleyway back, or is that alleyway only going to be 10 feet?
Correct.
So,
Now, if they have an alleyway, typically what we see is that they'll put the parking in the back to take advantage of the alleyway.
okay, but that doesn't count. That 10 feet's not part of the alleyway. That's, right? Okay.
Right,
it's gonna
no,
be-
that's not part of the alley.
It's building, and 10 feet would be the actual parking?
Correct.
So most of them have a sidewalk along the backside of their fourplexes. So if you put the sidewalk at 3 feet plus 10 feet, and the car is what, 9 feet?
Well, if they're
10 feet?
if they're going to
Back
be
into the
using
alleyway?
if they're going to be using the side, I mean the rear, for parking, they're typically going to leave like 22 feet so that they can safely maneuver in and out. There's no way you can fit a car.
But that catches in the plotting process or the P and Z?
Well, no, this is just for a building.
Okay.
Like,
But you see what I'm saying, right? 'Cause
yes,
fourplexes, I know they all, you've got the rear side, then you got a little sidewalk, then you got the
Correct.
carport, and then you got the alleyway.
yeah,
So if
but
we're just 10 feet to the alley, which is the easement, you're gonna have enough room to put a,
no, you're not going to have enough. So we'll catch it during the building permit process, and if they are going to be using the rear for parking, it increases the setback.
okay. Thank you.
Yes. And then finally, one of the changes that we're doing is we're also outlining the zoning districts where food truck parks are allowed. Currently, it wasn't outlined in our UDC, so we're outlining it. And food truck parks are allowed in the downtown district and in the commercial general business district. And in limited use, which means that they would require to go through a public hearing process, they are also allowed in urban, university, commercial, neighborhood, light industrial, and general industrial.
But this is for, permit or actual permanent use, right? A food truck can go temporarily to an
Correct.
establishment?
This is more for
Just
permanent use.
permanent? Okay.
Correct.
I just want to make sure.
And
Right.
these are,
Yeah, I wanted to make sure and touch on that. As long as we can utilize them like at baseball games, when there's in a concession
Or an event, like.
Yeah,
a-
events. I've been mentioning before, if you haven't gone to Municipal Park on Sunday afternoon, it is full of people. I've always asked, why can't we have some food trucks go out there and provide their services? So this is just for permanent.
just for permanent food trucks, correct?
Another question on this one too is, like if I'm not mistaken, we have like a peddler's
Putter's Grill.
ordinance.
Putter's Grill.
No,
Oh.
no, peddler's ordinance.
peddler.
Where they have to have a restroom. If they're gonna set up something outside in the parking lot or something like that, it's gotta have some type of restroom and some facilities included. How does that affect it? If somebody has a food truck and they're just putting it in a parking lot, when the actual establishment that they're probably renting it from is closed?
Now, one of the things that we
How's
look at,
that ordinance gonna fit?
yeah, no, well, if they were to establish something where they're going to set up permanently, we have to look at the restroom facilities. They have to have permission from a adjoining business to use the restroom facilities.
Well, a lot of these aren't permanent. They're gonna come in today and move out. It's all reason to have a food truck is to be mobile.
Well, they need to have an agreement with the restroom in the area. They just can't set up without having a restroom facility for the employees or for some of the customers.
Right.
But that's something that we look
This
at.
year's for actual food truck parks.
Correct.
That somebody wants to designate on a lot, or, I mean, this
Correct.
is just allowing that use, or having its own designation, I guess.
Correct. Now, this is a presentation in 2 weeks. At the next city council meeting, we'll bring the ordinance for approval. We did reach out to the steering committee, reached out to see if they had any input. We did get one of the members that provided us with some input as to some of the changes that he was wanting. However, we didn't really include those, because
Does this fit the food truck part? Is this just for parks or for, say I have my own food truck and I'm gonna set up outside the courthouse over here, right, during the breaks and stuff? We sit on the side of the road, like we've had that in the past, where they sit on the side of the road and sell their coffee.
This fits for that as well.
That,
It doesn't necessarily have to be a park per se.
well, that's what I'm saying. If that's a guy that's probably mobile in and mobile out, you're gonna sit up right there on the side of the road or on the
He
shoulder.
still needs to go through the process of applying for it.
With a permit.
For a permit.
How does he get the permit if he can't fit the other part of that ordinance, or the other ordinance with restroom facilities
He won't get the
and
permit.
such?
He won't get the permit if he
So
can't.
really, we don't have, kinda like, a lot of food trucks are like ice cream trucks. They're just not moving as much as an ice cream truck. They wanna move from location to location. They'll go from a big construction site like the courthouse, when there was really a bunch of people over there working, stop this to sell their wares at that time. You know, right at the lunchtime, and then leave. Is it addressed?
You know, that's more of a, it's not, that's considered more of a catering truck, where they just pop open their doors and start catering to the people. That's not the way a food truck should be operating. It should have its proper permit, so those are not allowed.
And Jaime, while we're on this subject, I know it's not listed, but if you could take back to the steering committee, I've asked several times if we can look into expanding the definition of who you notify for zone changes and any other requests, because currently it's
It's
300
300 feet. Now, one of the things that we have started to
300-foot
do.
radius, and I keep saying that, so if you have a large enough piece of property, 300 feet's not gonna touch maybe one or two residents. So when they come to council, it looks like somebody was trying to hide it, but the fact of the matter is UDC is only 300 feet, and I've always suggested that instead of saying 300-foot radius, say, notify the adjoining neighborhoods or establishments so that they get notice. So can we take back to them?
Or we could put a sign, other cities put a sign on the property saying that that property's being requested
for
as zone
rezoning.
change, and that way people see it as they drive by.
Well-
That could be a way to,
Yeah, so the biggest thing is, there's a zoning or an apartment coming by and my neighbor got a notice and I didn't. So like I said, everyone thinks, well, what's going on here? It sounds like underhanded business going on, but it's really the radius only touched a corner of their home and didn't include mine. So if we could somehow, I like the sign idea, but.
could put a
And I
sign.
know there's
Yeah, we can
cost
start the
involved
process
because
of-
you have to post in the paper, but it doesn't have to be per home. You can contact the HOA, you can contact,
I
and
was gonna
save.
mention that. One of the
Yeah.
things that we have started to do as a policy, it's not in black and white, but we started doing it as a common practice. If there's an HOA in
Yes.
the area, we'll notify them.
Well, I'd like it in the UDC so that the HOAs do get
Okay.
notified, because as we move along in life and you move along, then it won't be the standard. If we're doing that, that's great, but I'd like to make it the standard.
But Dan, how far do you, because this is gonna come back to a vote.
I
Just-
think as
just-
long as you
just put a
notify.
number.
Yeah.
How
Well,
long
no,
do you want it?
you can't do radius because then it changes the cost and the filing and the.
But you just can't do HOAs, because like my house, I don't have an HOA. There's supposed to be an HOA, but there's not an existent.
I would like the language to state, you have to notify the neighboring
Community.
corner, square, all around, however we can make that happen, including the business that was there and the HOA across the street, because if they're not in 300-foot radius, they're not gonna know.
and can't we also put the notice, I know we're required to put it on the newspaper, right? Is that what we do now? And do
We
we
do that
post it on the
currently.
bulletin board?
Yes.
Okay, but couldn't we also put it on our website and then on our social media pages that, this particular property is being asked to be rezoned? I mean, I'm just saying as a way to kind of help get the word out more, right? In addition to the mailing of the required 300 feet radius.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. We could include all those changes.
Yeah, like we
Now-
could just do a bulletin saying, all right, upcoming council meeting, we have the following properties up for rezoning from single family, we have the captions, right, that we have on the agenda. So it may be a way for us to just do some more outreach as well, and I know it's hard, everybody's busy, for them to keep track of that. So we do need to send them something directly, but I just think it's a way to inform the community more also.
I'll get with legal to see if we can include those changes at the next meeting when this gets presented for the
Jaime, another thing that you
ordinance.
can do is kind of like the way sanitation does, that they put the digital sign that says that they're gonna be doing brush pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can put one in that area during it for a period of time, letting people know that area is gonna be looked at to be changed.
Yeah, but a sign is
Yeah, the
probably
sign
key,
is
in addition, because that way you have a sign there, people already would start to get to know, like, oh, there's something happening there.
Correct.
Typically, as the survey sticks, right? People
Correct.
start asking questions, but, But, I mean, it's just a better way to inform community.
We'll look into it and we'll start using the signs.
All right, any other questions?
I know we go up to 300 feet, but what's the actual amount that we're supposed to, like
The state requires you to
state
go up to
requirement?
200 feet. Now, we go a little bit above and beyond and do 300.
'Cause I can see where y'all are coming from on y'all's end. We can go to 600 feet, but then someone else can easily say, well, how come I wasn't notified at 601 feet, you know, and they can continue going. I can understand that part too. I just think it's just pretty much like, I like the mayor's idea of putting up a sign. That way, you know, people can pass by. There's a visible sign where people can pass by there. And I can understand that cost can occur more if we go past 300 feet, and it can get a little bit more expensive, so.
Sure.
But it's just some things to look into.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. Any other questions? This is going to come back to us.
In 2
correct?
weeks.
In 2 weeks, the actual
ordinance.
amendment? Okay.
And
So
public
are
hearing.
we posting this online, the actual changes?
The actual changes were posted in the newspaper.
Okay.
But
I'd like
not
for us to
online.
post them online also, just so that people know what changes we're looking to do
Okay,
to the UDC.
we'll do that.
Mayor, on something like that, why don't we just say in general that anything you feel like you need to post in the newspaper, we should be posting on our website?
Right.
I mean, that's probably just a
We
good
just,
rule of thumb.
and we
overall.
posted, and I agree, we posted as part of our